again to my teens and teens of
Yay!
friends. It is me, Teacher TJ, and today I will be rewinding and reviewing Abbott Elementary, Season 1, Episode 6, Gifted Program. You know, the teachers at Abbott are working their class off. So the show opens with Janine working one on one with one of her students. She has a bunch of potatoes. Looks like they're trying to do basic math, but she's using objects that the student can touch. So while asking her questions about the math and working one on one with her, another student yells the answer to the problem. One thing I love about watching Abbott Elementary is that it shows real life examples of things that happen in the classroom. And I hope that we all take these moments and go back to our kids, pause the TV for a second and say, hey, do you do that? If you do, don't, please. But while working with the student one on one, the same student that she gave a task so that she could stop distracting the student that's working one on one with the teacher, she had her sharpen pencils and she ran out of pencils to sharpen. So now she's back again with something else to do. As a teacher, every minute is valuable, every minute is precious. So really it's hard to continue to manage that. I personally send my child to school with a book because a lot of times you might have a kid who is faster at doing their classwork or maybe a little bit more advanced. So, their work gets done quick. But their friends need to learn we all have a goal here, and that's to get everybody to the next grade. So I would recommend that parents also send their kids to school with a book. So when you're done reading, so when you're done doing your desk work, your classwork, read your book. And if your child doesn't like reading, which I think all kids like reading, it's a matter of finding something that they like to read, be it sports magazine, whatever that may be. Send that to school with them so that they're not a distraction to the other students, and that could keep them from going to the office and keep you from getting phone calls at home, because who wants those? And believe me, teachers don't even want to make those calls, but it's for the greater good. I digress. Back to what I was saying. Also, I would say that if they don't like to read, a fidget spinner is something that, something quiet, something settled that they could work with when they're done with their work. If you send your child to school with something like that and they're having issues in the classroom, you know, that could help the teacher and them. And it's also teaching them how to manage being bored or deal with not receiving attention for a minute. Because parents and teachers are not always available, and children need to learn how to occupy their mind on their own, or maybe even let their mind rest for a minute. So, along with puzzles, fidget spinners, and coloring, maybe after your child is done with their work, you could encourage them at home to sit quietly and focus on absolutely nothing for a minute, because we know this world can get loud. Well, Janine has to wrap up her teaching lesson, her one on one coaching potato math lesson, because the cook walks in, or chef, or cafeteria person, the lunch man walks in, and he wants his potatoes. He wants his potatoes back, and he tells Janine, how many times I got to tell you stay out the kitchen. Meanwhile, Janine and Barbara are in the office, in the front office, doing something. Anything but being in that classroom. I'm just kidding. They probably just walked in for today because it looks like they both have on their coats. Principal Ava has a new student, and she introduces the new student to Barbara and Ava and lets them know that he's not one of your regular little students, okay? His IQ is higher. He plays instruments. He comes from over there, with the smaller classroom sizes and such. Well, she didn't say it like that, but basically that's what she said. And they welcome him, and he heads off to class. On his way to class, there's a piece of trash on the floor, and Mr. Johnson is pushing his trash cart, and the little boy picks up the trash and throws it in the trash can. So, of course, he's won Mr. Johnson over because what? A kid that can clean? His type of kid. So it goes on, and Janine doesn't appreciate Ava doting on the new smart kid and explains that, hey, we have a lot of smart kids here at Abbott. Because one thing that teachers are going to do is to speak up for their kids, or let me say, one thing that a good teacher is going to do is to speak up for her kids and let everybody know, don't play with my kids, don't play on their top, don't play in their face, don't act, no favoritism, Since Janine feels like, hey, my students are just as smart as your new student who came from the really good school, air quotes, why don't we have a gifted program here in our school? And so the teachers talk about how each one of them were actually in a gifted program, the things they remember doing in a gifted program. Come to find out that Principal Ava actually has the funding for the gifted program for such a thing. Um, Everybody is like, "What? No, wait a minute, what?" And she's like, "Yeah, the money's been there for a minute. I tried to use it, I can't use it." Of course, everybody looking at her like, "What? You tried to use the money?" But we wouldn't expect anything less from Ava. So she says that, there's money for it, but unfortunately, everybody is too busy teaching their very own classes, and there's no teacher to even run a gifted program class. So that's why it doesn't exist. So, of course, that Janine. Janine is me and I am she. She cannot imagine being able to give her students or the students in her school something so great, but not giving it to them. So, of course, she has to try to create a gifted program for the children at Abbott Elementary. Just giving the school a program makes her reminisce on when she was in her school program, and they had an acronym for that they used that helped her realize that she must do this. And that the acronym was PI, okay? PI. Perseverance, ingenuity, and effort. Due to that alone, she has to create this program. And, PI just really it, she had a moment with that, and she remembered, perseverance pie. She was so dedicated to it that she ate pie for a very long time, and she don't like pie. She never liked it, but she had to persevere and just give it good effort and keep trying to eat that pie that she yeah. So they're gonna have a gifted program. Cut to the break room with Barbara and Melissa. um they're in the break room. Wait, can we just talk about the teacher's break room? I had a flashback of like, okay, wait, teacher's break room. My first elementary school, I cannot tell you anything about that break room. Okay. My second elementary school, they used to keep the door cracked, but they they used to keep the door cracked so we got to see in there. But the only reason they used to keep that door cracked was because I'm gonna date myself a little bit, but they used to smoke in that thing, and it was not a problem. It wasn't a problem because smoking inside of a building wasn't illegal in those times. And I don't know if it's every state has adopted that now, but back in the day, you could smoke in a building. But to smoke in a school building is insane. But it went down in the teachers' lounge, and yeah, I got to peek in there just because the door in my second elementary school, the door would always stay open, and I got to see what the chairs. It just looked like a break room, nothing. But kids couldn't go. It was a teacher space, so we always wondered what's in there. Like, can we get in there? Can we see in there? Like, what's really going? Teachers love going to the break room. They don't go anywhere else. They go to that break room. And yeah, that seeing them in this break room all the time just reminds me of that. And then it also reminds me of the fact that Teachers used to smoke in the break room. Hilarious. Well, anyway, Barbara and Melissa are in the break room. The vending machine guy comes in to fill the machine and he flirts with Melissa. And Melissa says, I do not date men with uniforms on, which is hilarious because, when you say uniforms, you mean firefighter, policeman, paramedic, type stuff, state trooper, army. But I guess if that's what you're going, you won't date a man with a job, which Melissa, as far as I can see, I don't think she cares about dating a man, period. But sometimes they push you there. Anyhow, South Philly Lily, no, South Philly Melissa immediately declines the idea of a date with this guy because she doesn't date men in uniforms. She says somehow you'll end up making their car payments and sleeping at your sister's house because it's just not going to work. I'm not sure that is the uniform, but okay. Anyhow, the guy comes back with a vending machine drink for her and she smiles and she takes the drink. Meanwhile, Janine somehow ends up talking Jacob into running the gifted program, which Ava agrees to because when she thought about it, she has a sister who has three very talented children. And she thought to herself, well, I don't have any children, but these kids I could claim as my own, and I could claim all of these little gifted kids as mine of gifted kids or a huge amount of gifted kids compared to my sister, three, measly little three gifted kids. Yeah, I can look a lot better. So she agrees to the gifted program. Next, the camera fades back to Melissa and Barb in the break room. They don't do nothing else, y'all. What they gonna do? They gonna break. No, they deserve it. I'm telling you, you don't have time to think being a teacher. I already know. I ain't even gonna hold you. Melissa and Barbara in the break room the next day, or maybe even week, I don't know. And Mr. Vending Machine guy is there restocking the machines. And he's flirting again, of course, because he sees Melissa and Barbara is pushing Melissa like, girl, talk to him, talk to him. When he's back, Barbara's still trying to get her to connect with him. She goes over there and she offers him a chance to put dinner with that drink that he had given to her earlier. So they make it a date. Gregory, on the other hand, finally gets that chance to start watching movies because, subbing, that's what it's all about, right? You substitute teachers, unless you're a really, really, really good substitute teacher, them substitute teachers, their plan for the day is to get their activities, be it their Sudoku book, crossword puzzle, phone, whatever, and that good old trusty, dusty TV with the back and the DVD player or VHS player. He finally gets to begin watching movies. Then in comes Principal Ava. She goes to his class to get three of his students to put them into the gifted program. Gregory is lightweight confused, like, those three, they don't need talking here. And she looks at him and says, sucks for you, which let me stop right there and say, never overlook the good students or the smart students in your classroom. They can be a great help, leadership skills, because if they're doing all their work, they already got it, You can team them with other students who might need help. Not saying that the other students become their responsibility for learning or their behavior, but just seeing somebody else doing the right thing can have an impact. Principal Ava and Janine bring all of the gifted program children to Jacob's classroom, where it looks like they're doing some science and studying the baby chicks in the incubators. But Janine's students are at the door, like watching what's going on. And one of her students looked at her and says, Miss Teague, why? I'm smart. Can I go to the chicken school? He got to the chicken school. which was my question. I was sitting there watching, like, okay, now my classroom looking into this classroom, and y'all have something special going on here. I could see. I don't know it's the gifted program as a kid. I just know y'all doing something that we're not. How do y'all pick which students is going to be in which class? So that was something that I was thinking of just to begin with. Later in the break room, Janine tells everyone it looks like the other students are happy about being left out of the gifted program. Gregory replies, yeah, my talkative students are no longer talking. They're gone. So now I have to do all the talking. So Janine replies, well, we can all fix this. They collaborate and they try to compose a plan for the other students, which, since they now have the gifted students, they have to figure out what to even call the rest of the kids. So Janine stops and says, okay, so yeah, we have the gifted kids and then our ungifted kids or our regular kids, or, which all sounds bad. And Jacob ends up taking over the conversation and he say, yeah, so we're going to do this for our gifted kids and then the other. So now they're the others, I guess. The other kids will do this. So they come up with a plan for all of the children to feel included. Janine goes to Ava's office. Ava has the original gifted kid in her office working on her computer because, that's Ava, right? Janine asks Ava for funds for her classroom to do the same chicken study that the gifted kids were doing. And Ava replies that, girl, that money is for the smart kids. Like, what type of principal? She tells her, you think I'm going to give you money for eggs? She laughs at her in her face. Next, we see Melissa and Barbara enjoying lunch that was brought to school by Barbara's husband. And Barbara mentions so that she should consider going on a date with the vending machine guy, the guy in the suit. At this point, Barbara is considering it, so she asks Janine what she thinks about him because Janine was in her classroom. But Janine really just came to Melissa because she knows that Melissa has the hookup and she wants to do the chicken experiment with the other children. And she knows Melissa has the hookup. So Melissa thought about it for a second and said, yeah, I got a guy. So she's going to get her eggs for a science study in a week. As for the eggs began to crack, the classroom all runs to see the eggs. They gather around and oh my gosh, they're snakes. Baby snake. Oh, the snakes hatch. The children run away because, yeah, we'll take chickens, but we don't want snakes, except for our one little friend that the show opened with, Janine doing one-on-one with the potatoes, where she picks up a snake and throws it and say, fly, little birdie, because, hey, you told us these were birds, snakes. The rest of the kids ran away, and the snakes are now all over the ground, and Janine is terrified. The animal control people come collect the snakes and ask Janine, where'd you get these snakes from? They're endangered. At that very moment, Melissa is walking past the classroom and looks at her like, girl, shh, don't you say nothing. And Janine just tell him, yeah, I think I got them from a pop-up shop. Greg meets with Janine and advises her to quit the gifted program idea because it could discourage the other children. He used the metaphor of it's like giving one set of children or one set of students baby chickens and then another set of students baby eggs. Greg advises Janine to recognize each student's individual intelligence. At that moment, the animal control person tells Janine, you said there were 8 snakes here. I only have 6. And the
student that she began working with the potatoes, doing the math, says, "Oh, so there's two. You're missing two," which there is the camera just cut out to somewhere else. I mean, to the next scene, but I would like to stay there for a second because that's the magic in being a teacher. That's some of the magic in being a teacher, where you teach, you teach, you teach, and then while after the lesson is done, the student is not done learning. You'll look up and it's like, whoa, you got that. And that moment is so special and so joyous. But they weren't able to really celebrate it because we're missing two snakes in this school. Next, Melissa called her ex-husband and asked him if their divorce ever stopped him from getting out and dating. And he assured her that she should continue, she should date because she's awesome and she deserves more. She thanks him and they hang up the phone. So the vending machine guy came back to restock the vending machines and they were able to make a date. He called her a Philly 11. I don't shout out to my Philly people. I don't know what that is. Meanwhile, the new student is in Principal Ava's office questioning her because he's smart enough to see she really doesn't do any work. And he's bold enough to actually say it out loud. At that point, Ava was over this little guy, and the teachers found a solution to fit everyone, which was to have a bi-weekly gifted program for all of the students at Abbott. Ava agreed because she was over the gifted kid at that point. So at the end of the show, the end of the day got to end. Shout out to Glorilla. Gregory and Janine are walking with each other out of the business at the end of the day. And it seems that Gregory might have a little crush on Janine. It was just the look back that he gave her, the conversation and the soft smile. So at the end of the show, the gifted kid is not clueless. He learned that snakes and chicken eggs really look a lot alike. And he may begin to like his new school, even though it's not a gifted, air quotes, school, because he never had this much fun at a school. And that wraps up this show. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.